Welcome to Goldboys Live, presented by Pickett Sports, Sleeper Picks, Hall of Fame bets. A lot to do. We got Josh and Brian. We will do an NFL reaction from yesterday, 2 Monday night games again this week. We'll look at some futures, only a few baseball games as we are in the final week of baseball, believe it or not. Josh, Brian, you guys in the chat, give us your questions, comments, whatever. Feel free to join. I guess we'll just start with you, Brian. Biggest takeaway from yesterday.
The Cardinals might be the best team in the NFL. I mean,
Josh, your turn. All right, we're done with Brian.
You're not gonna take this show seriously, Brian. We're not gonna welcome you back.
For those of you who don't know, I bet the Cardinals go winless at 22-1. I have all sorts of unders, so I mean, I'd be okay not discussing that game, but in the interest of doing the show, we do have to talk about it. It was a massive upset. A lot of survivor carnage yesterday, a lot of weird coaching decisions.
Three big survivor upsets with Colts, Jaguars, and the Cardinals. All 3 9-point or more favorites winning outright was crazy, or 8.5, I guess.
My biggest takeaway from yesterday is like, I mean, I'm not gonna trash anybody for taking the Cowboys to beat the Cardinals, even when it was like 21-10. I think there was still this feeling of like, well, the Giants came back against this team, so whatever. But I think there are some things that you can bank on a little bit more than others, and like in my one picks pool, my buddy was just like really hammering, like wanting to take Denver and the Raiders. I managed to talk him off of the Raiders, and he just wouldn't go away from Denver. So I was like, okay. But in my head, I'm like, we already promised each other we weren't going to bet on bad teams. And the Broncos are a bad defense, and we're going to need more from their offense that they got. I think there was like a game like the Pats when you get it under 3 points and you got Bill Belichick versus Zach Wilson. I was harping on that one and put a bunch on it. And then the other one with the Colts was like, it's a bit, if you don't want to bet on the Colts, which a lot of the numbers were indicating it's a good bet to take, especially over a touchdown on the Colts, then stay away from it. Like don't bank on the Ravens. If you think the Colts can cover, they can probably win. That's one of those rules of thumb. So like it wasn't a guarantee that the Ravens are going to win. I just think hindsight might be easy to talk about this, but there seems like some things that if it smells fishy, you don't have to bet it. Basically, there's other games with better value and just hit those harder is my main takeaway.
Yeah, the Broncos looked good yesterday for all of the opening kickoff.
It's funny because the Broncos, a lot of quote unquote respected money was on Denver. A lot of quote unquote respected money was on Washington. That line went from opened at 7, closed 5, 5.5. Yep. Atlanta got bet from 4.5 down to 3. I know it ticked back up, but man, you start to play some of these line moves, and we're all just clueless. I mean, we can sit here and have all these opinions. None of us know shit about this league. It's just like the Texans. I mean, it's one thing. All right, Jags division game against the Texans. Wouldn't be shocked if they lost. They got destroyed. Like the Cardinals won that game comfortably against Dallas.
Yep.
I don't know. I just don't know if we know anything about this league.
I know. It's funny because I had
Miami. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I had such a good week, and I'm like feeling so confident, and my mistake is gonna be thinking like, all right, I got this. I know what I'm talking about. And then next week I'm gonna just get a rude awakening because, like you said, it's fucking football, man.
I mean, it's one of those things too where I think that comes down to you always like to, look at, the Circo lines or the Pinnacle lines and like what's sharp, what's not. I feel like sometimes you just gotta trust what you actually want to bet and just go with it rather than being like, oh, like this line moves so much, like Vegas knows this or
nobody knows
this
anything.
person made that. Anything can happen on a given weekend. So, I mean, sometimes you can feel you have the right play, the wrong result as well, but don't like second guess yourself because you see other things on it or other lines moving against it.
A 70 burger for Miami. We probably should have mentioned that. Well, let's talk about that. How real is this? I feel like once the weather, like you're playing Miami, obviously, so they're not going to deal with too much bad weather, but something's got to slow this offense down. They're not going to just do this every week, and they didn't last week against New England, but I don't know. What are your takeaways on Miami? How real is this? How much can they keep this up? And just, man, 70, that's one thing. It's like Oklahoma plays a Division I AA team or whatever.
They didn't even have Waddle.
70, like 70 in the NFL without Waddle. Great point. I mean,
because usually a lot of times we talk about it as well with I know we've always had like crossing opinions on Tua, but a lot of times you make good points about how open are these throws when you have 2 stud wide receivers just making so much space. He wasn't even out there. Tyreek Hill still found so much space. Their running backs combined for 385 yards and 4 touchdowns. It was just one of those things where every time, because I was watching Red Zone, it wasn't that game. It did not make one of the secondary TVs. And every time it came back up for a highlight, it was just like, how the hell do they have the ball inside the 10 again? It was just a crazy amount of they were scoring, and then next thing you know, I get the red zone alert on my fantasy app that Tua Tagovailoa is also back in the red zone. I just understand it.
Does that performance trigger a bet for you guys? Because I'm gonna look here. I have one thing in mind, and it's probably steam to the point. Wow, McDaniel's still plus 400 for Coach of the Year. I mean,
Plus
he's
four.
putting on a clinic. Look, I mean, I know we or at least I liked Salah. I was like, oh, if still with Rodgers being hurt, if they make the playoffs, they can get in. But I don't know. At 4-1, it feels like this team's going to win 12 or so games, and it's all him, man. They are open. There's just a beautiful system. It's beautiful football. Somebody wrote an article today. It was Brandon Anderson of Action Network comparing them, and I've thought this before. It's almost like the Warriors, where Curry's so great, but part of why Curry's so great, he's got Klay Thompson out there. Sort of the same thing with Hill, where it's just so much speed everywhere. You can't double everyone, and everyone's moving.
Fair.
I don't know. McDaniel 4-1 to me might be that number might be long gone, especially if they beat the Bills this upcoming week, which is just a tremendous game. So I don't know if you guys think anything is bettable off that performance.
Yeah, I'm looking. Well, what's interesting is like I'm obviously start with the division. I mean, not obviously, but that's where my mind goes because of the way that the Dolphins were not. Where you're still getting plus money at them earlier, but now they're minus 160 favorites, and I'm starting to turn back towards the Bills, going like, well, I believed in them enough. Like I do think there was some flukiness to that Monday night game. I know the Bills have some holes, and I know that their schedule is also very tough. I don't. This Miami game though might be the best time. Before this game is the best time to bet the Bills at plus 165. Might be a little bit better elsewhere, but on DraftKings at least it's plus 165. And so if they beat Miami, that goes straight back down. After Miami, they have Jacksonville and New York, right? It's not going if they win those two games as well, which are super winnable. Probably need to win those games no matter what kind of games. Then and one of them's in London, by the way. But with those two games, like they're probably almost definitely going to win those two. That number's not going to get any better. It's basically about whether or not you think they're going to beat Miami because it'll get better if they lose to Miami.
I'm guilty of this too. I'd be very careful. I told myself this this morning. Whatever. No more using the word. This team's definitely going to beat that one because I did it with Arizona and Dallas. I was looking at Arizona's schedule. I was like, oh, they're 0-2, and then they have Dallas, San Fran, Cincy. Fair. They're going to be 0-5. Like, I don't think we can use the word definitely anymore. This league
no,
is
not definitely.
out of
But
whack.
no, I know agree that they should win, right? They're favored already in both those games. So if you think they are going to win both those games, that plus 165 is going to drop.
What were the games again?
Jacksonville. As I'm saying it, Jacksonville's in London, which is always weird, and that's like London's team.
And Jacksonville's basically home turf in London.
Yes,
that's their team.
Yeah,
the London Jaguars. And then
the Jacksonville plays back-to-back weeks in there, so they're going to be acclimated, which is a little subtle advantage. But I get your point. I don't know if the Bills at plus 165. I don't know. Is that enough for you to bet it plus 165 to win the division for Buffalo?
Right now, I might talk myself into it. This is the first time I'm looking at it this morning. But that would be the logic that I would use if you're going to bet a division winner of the AFC East right now.
Yeah. And then if you guys are ready to move on, I just wanted to add into the recap that Mike Williams is officially out for the year with the torn ACL. I just saw that for
always hurt
4 minutes ago. Yeah, that sucks because I
doesn't impact Keenan Allen. Hope he just like stays healthy too. Doesn't get over.
So this is a sidebar, but my friend that was over yesterday plays in the fantasy league for some godforsaken reason. It's a 3-point PPR league. You get 3 points per catch, and Keenan Allen put up like 88 against them, and I think it's hilarious to see that in the league. I don't know why that is, but there's nothing more funny than watching a friend go through it emotionally in a fantasy matchup. Just watching someone have 18 catches against them.
We do have 2 games tonight, but quickly, MVP. Is there anything you guys would take? 2 is plus 380 at DraftKings. Mahomes 6-1. Allen plus 850. Here's the thing: if you think Buffalo's going to win this week, maybe you just take Allen because I feel like whoever wins that game, their quarterback, that odds, like I don't know how much more you can go if you're 2 from plus 380, but I feel like whoever you like this week, maybe just not even playing the division, maybe you play their quarterback for MVP. But Allen plus 850, Hurts 9-1, Lamar 15-1, Herbert 16-1, Purdy's 20-1, Lawrence is 20-1, Burrow 25-1. That's a bad number. McCaffrey at 25-1. I wouldn't bet that. I don't really like any of these numbers. Anything jump out to anyone?
Kind of how you just mentioned. Do you like anything with the Dolphins after 70 points? It's like that's like the worst time to try to bet something for a team. Like obviously, right after the heat of all that stuff, you just can't find the value with it.
So you buy low, sell high. It's a similar thought process with Tua. Like my only thing with Tua is at the end of the day, like is he gonna play enough games to get those stats? If he does, if he plays 16 games, he can probably miss 2. Depending on what like Mahomes and company are doing. With this start though, probably has enough to like be able to miss a game or 2. If you don't, if like that's what the money's on. So you can either get ahead of him getting hurt and bet on another guy who has better odds because Tua is in front of him, right? Or you just buy into Tua and you assume that this is going to keep happening. That would be one of the 2 ways I'd play the MVP. And I mean, if he doesn't get hurt, I do see this happening. It does feel very 99 Rams with the amount of weapons they have on this team, amount of running backs even too at this point. So, yeah, I mean, you're either ride with Tua or you fade him like before he gets hurt by betting a second or third guy.
If I had to make a bet right now, I think Purdy at 20-1 is still the best bet on this board, even though he's not the most valuable player in the league. I just know how this voting works, and that team's going to be 14-3 or whatever, maybe 15-2, and you're getting 20-1. I just don't want to take plus 380, especially on a guy that gets hurt as much as he does. He could certainly win. He's certainly going to have the stats. I don't know.
I feel you.
I wanted to, before we get to the games, I did want to get your thoughts on divisions, because let's just go through it, see if we can find anything. Lions are minus 105 in the North, Packers plus 155, Vikings 6-1, Bears 25-1. Anything for anyone there?
You're saying NFC North?
Yeah, we'll just go quickly through these.
Sorry, can you say it again?
Lions minus 105, Packers plus 155, and the Lions play the Packers Thursday night. That's a Thursday night game. It's gonna be a fun one. And then the Vikings are 6-1, Bears are 25-1.
Yeah, Lions or Packers. Who do you believe in more? We still haven't even seen the Packers with fully healthy, but they would have lost that game if Derek Carr doesn't get hurt. So, still believe in the Bears if you get them at close to even money.
The Bears?
You mean
the Bears, the Lions.
The other Lions minus 105. Yeah,
I have the Lions at plus 160, and I'm riding that out. I like the Lions a lot this year, so I might actually bet them, because right now it's a pick 'em for Monday Night Football. I mean, for Thursday Night Football, it's a pick 'em at -1 spread.
In the West, AFC West, we're just going in order. DraftKings, Chiefs minus 300. Anyone want anything besides the Chiefs? Broncos are third. How are the Broncos 30-1?
No, thank you.
Yeah, I'm with you. We talked about the AFC East. This one is interesting. Let's see. AFC. We'll go AFC North. Browns and Ravens are both plus 195. Steelers plus 330. Bengals are plus 450.
Wow.
Cleveland and Baltimore play this week too. Again, good week this week.
I don't even hate
in the league.
That defense is unbelievable.
Keep saying it. It's the second best defense in the league.
Yeah, I don't even hate the Steelers. I don't like the Steelers at that price either, because you talk about defense. A team with that good of a defense like the Steelers have. I mean,
Deshaun Watson's way better than Kenny Pickett at this point. I cannot.
Oh, I know, but
any small hand Pickett.
Yeah, but you already had.
Isn't the thing with the Browns whether or not Deshaun is for real or not? And like, that was my thing that I tweeted.
No Chubb now too. No
Chubb, and they already have. They already are behind the 8 ball in terms of tiebreakers versus the Steelers.
Well, our Jerome Ford over 9.5 receptions bet hit early. He looks really good. We'll get Kareem Hunt in the fold. I mean, I'm talking about the Browns. Like, I'm
a good TV game. I can say that much. He didn't do much else.
Yeah, but I think Deshaun, what was it, 27-39? Like, he looked legit, like, with his throws. It was just, can you remember how to play quarterback? It seems like he's starting to. That was a great matchup to start playing well. I mean, the Titans suck in the secondary, and then they're all about stopping the run. So, all over though.
Definitely.
Browns are my favorite. If I could get the Steelers at like 5-1, which I'm sure they were like very recently, and I missed it, would have been way nicer. Not really.
How about AFC South? Jags plus 125, Titans plus 250, Colts plus 275. Houston at 11-1. Houston's looked okay. I don't know if I was going to take a stab. Like, you could talk me into Houston 11-1. I'm not a Lawrence fan. I thought, hey, minus 160, they're going to win the. Even though I don't like the team, that's still cheap for the division. I don't know. At 11-1, the Houston's at least interesting. Do you guys have any thoughts on that division?
I'll tell you what. I don't even know if I have to sell you on the Titans 11. I just feel like I have to sell you on not betting on the Jaguars, Titans, or Colts. I think that's really what it comes down to. Like, the short favorite is a team that just looked awful the last 2 weeks.
Awful.
I mean, they haven't scored points in the last 2 weeks. I mean, and all stats or all numbers or all eye tests point to they weren't super formidable defenses that are going against. They just didn't get anything going against either one.
So who do you like here? Who do you guys?
I was just saying that I was agreeing with being able to talk you into Texans 11-1 just because I don't know if I trust any other team.
Yeah, I mean, Colts, I like the Colts. I bet on them in this game with a couple of different bets, including first half money line, which was really nice. And then them at plus 8.5. They're impressive on defense with the way that if they bracket you correctly in the pass game, because their defensive secondary is weak, but that front is nasty as well. So there's something to believe in with that defensive line in a way that, like, Anthony Richardson looked good. They clearly have the best backup in the league in Gardner.
Yeah.
So like I do think there's plenty to like with them. The Texans, it might be worth a stab on them, and then it's still at nearly 3-1 for the Colts. Still very worth it to me. Of the 4 teams, I feel more comfortable than them at that number. The Jags at plus money still is like hilarious. That being the
Right.
favorite is just hilarious in that event. I was just looking
Right.
at them not to make the playoffs, and it's minus 110 both ways on DraftKings. And I
Yeah.
would definitely slap no before I hit yes, but still not worth it right now.
I know what you mean. I just don't want to be reactionary. It's like, all right, this time yesterday we probably wouldn't have thought that, and they play a really bad game, and we're jumping on. I don't know. I don't know, because remember last year Texans did win in Jacksonville 13-6 too. So I don't know. That division's always so weird. Always so weird.
It is. I don't know, man. Yeah, the Jags are very unimpressive. They'd have to do a pretty big turnaround, but
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying too. Don't be too reactionary. There's nothing with enough juice to bet on them or against them necessarily, but
Right.
the Colts are still I like them right now.
Then
So.
NFC South Saints plus 130, Falcons plus 165. Both had losses yesterday. Bucks plus 310, sitting there in first place. Panthers 35-1. Man, I was wrong about the Panthers. I thought they'd be okay. That team, that's tough because you traded up all that stuff for a guy who's like 5'7" and 150 pounds soaking wet. And now you're going to be giving away a really high pick. So that's a bad look here for the Panthers. I don't see anything I love there. Guess I take Atlanta. I think Ritter's a problem for them. I think he stinks. I don't know. Do you guys have any bets in that market?
No,
I would say that it's untouchable just because we don't even know what Derek Carr is gonna look like. Like I know he got shaken up.
Good
so
point. Good
yeah,
point.
like if it was a fully healthy, like I had no question marks, I'd probably lean towards the Saints. But like you said, he left the game early yesterday, didn't return, and who knows what that could have been.
I would stay away from it no matter what. I hit the Falcons 4-1 a while ago. I've been talking about it as much as I can because I knew it was going to drop.
It's not 4-1 right now, though. So
what's that?
It's not.
No, I know, but my point is like I don't need to keep putting any more on it when it's.
Yeah, I got you.
Best
I mean, for a thought exercise, though.
Yeah, and that's why I was saying either way, there's nothing I like here.
How about Tampa 3-1? Is Tampa?
Well, yeah, why is that?
Tampa be okay?
Yeah, what's up with that?
Is Baker that bad?
I feel like he is.
Well, can we talk about that game then tonight?
Yeah, let's transition. It's a good segue. By the way, Eagles minus 140, Cowboys plus 140. That's appropriately priced. Awful loss for the Cowboys. Fuck the Cowboys. Tonight's game, we got 2 of them. Bucks, Eagles. Eagles laying 5 in Tampa. And then Cincy is laying 2.5 against the Rams in Cincy. Burrow is trending towards playing, but he's going to test it out before the game.
Which is crazy when I saw that report. I kind of knew he would try, but the spread reflected that I did think he might play now because it did shift a little bit this morning. So
what are we at now?
See.
I thought 2.5.
Yeah, well, it was 2.5, which it's been all over the place. I feel like since open though.
You get 3 on DraftKings, but I think
3's a bet for me. I like the Rams plus the 3. I just don't know that Burrow's going to.
Interesting thing is the 4.5 you can get on FanDuel for the Eagles versus the 5 on DraftKings and other sites.
Yeah, I mean, sort of a dead number, but I don't know. What do you guys have? Either one of these games, you guys tell me. What do you like?
I know Josh likes the tight ends today. I think. What you have? You have Higbee and Goddard, I believe.
I did parlay them both to get 4 receptions or more each for plus 165. Yeah. They're both juiced way up. So
yeah, I was nervous to take anything with Dallas Goedert this week just because I missed so wrong last week by taking the yards instead of the receptions, but I ended up taking it. I looked into the numbers, 90% route participation for this team, and this Bucs team is so good against the run that I don't see the Eagles going out and running the 200 some yards again. I think that was kind of where all the receiving props went to die last week because Swift just could run for 12 yards of carry with ease. So I feel like this game, you're going to see 30-some dropbacks for Jalen Hurts, but I think Dallas Goedert will finally look like an NFL tight end again after 2 bad weeks.
How about the side? Either one of these sides, it just like I usually don't think this way. It does feel a little too easy. Philly only laying 5 against Tampa.
Yeah,
Philly's been outgained from scrimmage in terms of yards per play. They haven't played.
It's the backdoor covers. I mean, last week's the same thing. They were winning the whole game by 2 or 3 scores, and all of a sudden, if you had a 6.5, you lost. It was just
and last week was a good example of just shop around because you probably should have won the game no matter which side you had because there were 5.5, there were 5.5, there were 6, there were 6.5. So it lands right on 6. Similar to the first week where it went from 5 down to 3, and then it landed on 4. I want to say against the Patriots. Yeah. What do you guys think in terms of the side in this game? Eagles Bucks. Kind
of to your point, I just think the Eagles are a lot better in every facet of this game. And then you look at the spread and you're like, why is it less than it was last week when they had trouble, a little bit of trouble with the spread, at least against a team like the Vikings that you can clearly see are just not good this year. So I think it's going to be slow. So I guess if you're thinking you lean the under in a slower game, that the favorite usually goes to the underdogs just because slower games, less points, whatnot. But yeah, I would leave the Eagles in this one, but I probably won't bet it as a fan because then I'll get double upset over everything.
I'm more I'm worried that I'm going to be watching this game and like in the third quarter they're pulling away. They're up to 17, they're up 20, and I'm like, what the hell was I scared of 5 points for?
And then they
Because
lose, they
I
win
could
by
see that.
3.
Yeah, I mean that could have, but it is going to come down to if the Eagles can run the ball at that point because, like we said, like they're going to need to just put a long drives together and just chip away at this Bucks defense. But the under feels right too because like we know what the Bears defense is, we know what the Vikings defense is. Two of the bottom 5 defenses in the league right now. Like that's not proof that Baker Mayfield's good at football. That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying. And
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think you want to go ahead and bet on Mike Evans being Randy Moss every week to get you points on the board like that with 2 huge receptions.
So you like
yeah,
Philly?
yeah, I do like Philly a bit more. I do like the under because I do
44
think that the Bucks defense can hang with the Philly offense. So I did prefer the under at 44.5. But if you're making me take a side, I would take 4.5 on the on FanDuel for them before I bet on the Bucks. Yeah.
I think I would take the 5. I don't know. Philly hasn't looked great. I know they get the extra rest here. I don't know. Tampa defense is pretty good. I remember this team won the Super Bowl not that long ago. It's a lot of the same pieces. Of course, it's Baker Mayfield. It's not Tom Brady. That's a major difference. But I don't know. I'm getting 5. I got a pretty good defense. Haven't loved what I've seen from Philly. This is one of those, if you bet it and you lose, you're going to feel stupid no matter what.
Yeah.
Because if you take Philly, you're like, man, this was such a trap. And again, I hate that line of thinking, like, oh, this is a trap
Yeah.
line, but that's how you'd feel. And then if you take Tampa and Philly blows them out, you're like, what the hell is they thinking? Philly's obviously the much better team. So weird line. Anytime it's in that 4.5 to 5 zone, it's like that's sort of that dead zone where a lot of these numbers are dead. So
Yeah.
we lean Tampa. Let's look at touchdown scores. A lot of people like these, and I'm trying to
Lot of
retire
love for
myself
AJ.
from
A
touchdown
lot of
scores.
love for AJ Brown this week for the touchdown. Everyone thinks
Oh,
that.
because he was bitching and moaning last week. That makes
Yeah, which
sense.
I get the line of thinking. Is it
I
just
do
me?
too.
Like I hate how you just said you hate the line of thinking of a line being a trap. I hate the line of thinking where if I see everyone make a point because that's a great cap, I think. But when everyone agrees it's a great cap, I'm always just like, that's dumb. Like,
Yeah.
it's like it makes so much sense, but then it's one of those things where if you don't bet it, you're gonna punch your wall because you're like, how could I miss that? Why didn't I bet it? And if you do bet it and you doesn't work, you get more mad at yourself. So it's a lose lose.
Like I said, I'm trying to wean myself off these first touchdowns. I don't give them out, but I play them, and man, they're so hard to hit, and there's just the numbers have all
Dallas Goedert
shrunk
at?
to the point where it's really bad. Like, but let's go through the exercise. Hertz is plus 650 to score the first touchdown. Swift is plus 750. AJ Brown's 8-1. Rashad White is 9-1. Evans is plus 950. Devontae Smith is 10-1. Gainwell's 10-1. Like, how many guys under 10-1 can you have?
Yeah, I was about to say the
Goddard
same
12 to
thing.
1. You guys tell me anything you like.
See, that pisses me off because I was gonna say I would have loved to, because when you were going with all those lower odds, my first thought was, wow, I wonder if Goddard is in that like 18-1 range, and then 12-1.
Oh,
That's
shit, not a
crazy
lot.
that there's.
It's
So
not
you're
a
telling
lot.
me there's 12 people under 2,000? That's a wild thing to say,
Cade
especially for a
Otton is
total that's
15 to
44 and
1.
a half.
Trey Palmer's 20 to 1. I've never fucking heard of Trey Palmer, and he's 20 to 1. Like, what? These odds are awful, awful odds.
Yeah, but
Really.
Sean Tucker's 25-1.
Your running back?
Bananas,
Is
man.
that the
I
running back
guess
from Syracuse? I think it is.
maybe that's him. I don't know.
Baker Mayfield 25 to 1. Again, you have a quarterback who's not even a running quarterback who's 25 to 1. Like, that used to be a few years ago before these markets got so public and gambling became so prevalent. Like, Baker used to be, I remember he was like 50 to 1 year when he scored the first touchdown. Like, he used to just be a long shot. Now, like, all these numbers are cut in half or cut in 1.5. I don't know.
Yeah.
You guys find one bet worth betting here?
No, none of those odds.
If you
I was
had to bet
excited.
it, let's just say you have to bet. You get a $100 free bet, and it has to be on this market.
On first specifically?
Yeah, first touchdown.
I would go one of the tight ends, either Otten or Goddard, because Otten's 25-1.
Pick one. What's the best one?
I'll go. I'm going to go with the guy that I'm sticking with Goddard. I just think.
Well,
I just think the Bucks defense is just so soft. It's soft in the middle and goes outwards. I feel like he'll get the red zone looks.
Let me get Kenneth Gainwell. It's 10 to 1 for the now RB2 on the team to get one. But like, I could see him vulturing stuff. Like, I'm kind of leaning under. It's only at 31.5. I was trying to really figure out what the split the snap share would be between Swift and now Gainwell coming back. it's impossible to figure that out with this team, especially with the way Gainwell had 14 carries to Swift's 1 in the first game of the season, and then an injury in a short week keep Gainwell out. Now you've got Swift going off against Swiss cheese defense in Minnesota. So
Yeah.
like I don't know what to do with it. I would think that like Swift earned himself, the bulk of the carries, in which case 31.5 yards for the backup against a top 2 rushing defense right now at least feels too much. But like it's
Yeah.
still really low, and like 2 carries for Gainwell that go well, and a couple drives, whatever. So, but
I don't
vulturing
have
a
the
touchdown might be nice.
I don't have the stat in front of me, but I do know a friend that works with the Philadelphia Eagles Inquirer for like their betting site, and I do know that Jalen Hurts a lot of times if he does score in a game, it's a high percentage of that it's the first touchdown. So last week what he told me is don't ever bet Jalen Hurts touchdown, bet on first touchdown, and if he doesn't score the first touchdown, just take half the wager and bet it live, and you get better odds like the -120s. So I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah.
I'd probably go Swift plus 750 just because he had a big week last week. The ball's probably going to be in his hands, but man, these odds are just they're not great. Anything else on this game, or you guys want to do Bengals Rams?
The only thing I would say is I don't like to bet multiple things in one primetime game, but I do think it's intriguing that Rashad White rushing yards is 48.5. I just don't know if he's going to have much success against the Eagles rushing defense. Plus, the Bucs aren't necessarily a team that are super devoted to him being like a number 1 20 carry guy.
Yeah.
Oh, before we get to this game too, Brad does have a sleeper play. He's not on today, obviously, but Brad does have a sleeper play. 25 to win 122. It's a 3-legger. Godwin over 4.5 catches. AJ Brown over 71.5 receiving yards. DeAndre Swift over 37.5 rushing yards. He gives us a quick little write up here. He said Swift moved from 35.5. No Boston Scott. We saw him take over the backfield last week. And then he says, in terms of Godwin, Eagles get a lot of pressure, and Godwin, runs those short routes, and he could be a little bit of a safety valve. So Godwin over receptions, AJ Brown over 71.5 yards, Swift over 37.5 rushing yards, 25 pays 122 on sleeper. So if you want to tail along with that. Bengals Rams, like you said, we're up to 3 now. Maybe some optimism that Burrow's going to play. I can't bet a quarterback and lay 3 points with a guy who's banged up, might not even play. I doubt they'll hang a rushing prop on Burrow again, even if he does play. But Josh, let's just start here in terms of, all right, you got to bet this game. What are you looking at?
Are you saying I have to take a side, or can I bet something else in it?
Start with a side. Start with a side.
I mean, yeah, with the Rams getting 3 points, even if Burrow's playing, sorry to say, like, don't believe in what he could bring if he's healthy. And that defense is bad enough against the Rams. Are just going to pace a play, run, get as many plays in on a drive as possible. They're leading the league in the amount of time they've had the ball on offense, in the length of their drives and the average plays. They're Sean McVay is doing what he needs to do with like short little dudes like Tutu and Puka, who are they're now go-tos, right? Even Higbee, who's running super short routes, whatever. Like they're just like, go get it and go, keep the clock running, and keep the ball moving. And I think they're gonna have success against the Bengals doing that. So I would take the 3.
Yeah, I think it's hard to try to. I know Tony's there in his Bengals jersey. I think it's
Really
hard to try
distracting
to.
with your Bengals shirt while we're
We
talking
should
about
get Tone on.
I think it's.
should
I
open
just
the
think my
phone.
point is that if gun to your head you had to bet something, it's just super hard to try to, use reason and rationale to defend a Bengals spread tonight.
Your thoughts, Tone?
Well, I don't know if you saw what I dropped in chat, but it looks like Joe Burrow will be playing tonight.
Yeah.
I agree with Brian. I would not touch the spread with the 10-foot pole. It's too dicey. If the Bengals win, I think they win by less than 3. I think it's a pretty close game.
Ooh, I would love that.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost the 3 points is for the home game at this point, right?
Yeah.
It's
How
tough.
about an under? How about the fact that Burrow won't be healthy and they'll just be conservative? They'll run the ball. 'Cause remember, the Rams are going to take it easy on him.
Yeah.
They're going to blitz him. They're going to attack him. You figure Cincy, hey, get the ball out of his hands quickly. We'll run the ball. We'll try to win the game 20-17. I don't see a ton of points in this game. Would an under make sense?
What's the line it's set at?
44.
I think an under could make sense. The only thing I'm afraid of is that, when you blitz Joe Burrow, generally, he's one of the fastest in the league to dump the ball. He's pretty good at that. So that's,
Pisses me off. 'Cause I was looking at Joe Mixon props tonight, and they said his receptions at 4.5, and it pissed me off. I so wanted to take the over, but 4.5 is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
He's going to be involved for sure.
Don't you hate when the
lean
books are
towards
smart?
what's that?
So don't you hate when the books are smart? I was
Yeah.
gonna be all over Mixon receiving props, and I saw 4.5, and I was like,
4.5 bananas for running back.
I
But yeah,
will
where
also
you say, Tom?
say that I mean Mixon's averaging 4 yards a carry this year so far. I think that Taylor will finally realize to give him the ball more, especially if Joe is hurt, and if he continues to produce at the level he's producing, that really could change how the game looks. So I think Joe Mixon might be like the real question mark of the game for how it could drive the scoring.
What's the weather? You're not in Cincy, but
No.
I mean, it's bad weather on the
it's
East
no
Coast.
weather.
It's rainy here in Connecticut. It's nothing, no weather.
No,
I don't think there's
at least,
anything there.
At least yesterday when I was looking at this game, the 24-hour forecast still had it like pretty regular good weather. There was like a 6% chance of rain, so it's just gonna be probably like a little bit humid. But
Gotcha.
66 degrees, no clouds,
yeah.
4% chance. I mean, I guess a
But
little clouds.
that I also do like Kyron Williams though. 60.5 in this game. Like that run defense is bad. Well, the pass defense is bad too. If you want to look at the 25th in DVOA versus the pass, 23rd versus the run, but the 384 yards, man, it's like that they've given up in 2 games on the ground is bananas. That they're giving up 100 more, 190 plus to the other team each game. At this point, Kyron Williams is nasty, ferocious. They haven't really like committed to giving him more than the 12, 13. He got 14 in the second game, but if they're committed to that at all, 60.5 still feels like a pretty good number for Kyron Williams rushing. There are gonna be a lot of plays.
Like him. He's a good player.
Yeah,
he's a good player. You guys want to, before we get out of here, first touchdown on this one? Let's see if we can find anything that's not ridiculous.
You're gonna make me throw up again because all these odds are gonna be.
They're terrible. They're terrible.
Gross. I mean, yeah, it's gross.
It is. It's just, man, a few years ago, I remember 2020 was the pandemic season. You used to get like Mahomes 30-1, 35-1. Now it's just, man, all these numbers are just shrunk so ridiculously. But Mixon's plus 550, Chase plus 650, Kyron Williams plus 650, Higgins 8-1, Puka Nacua 11-1. We don't even know if he's playing, right? He's been limited in practice.
Sorry, Schefter said he's expected to play though.
Okay. Higbee 14-1, Atwell 14-1, Tyler Board 15-1. Jefferson 17-1, Burrow 20-1, Drew Sample 22-1, Ronnie Rivera 28-1, Jake Browning 28-1.
Jake Browning. I wanted to talk about that for a minute. The backup quarterback who is now not necessarily expected to start is 28-1 to run one in. The inexperienced Jake Browning. Give me a break, dude.
Both either defense and special teams is 30-1. That might be one where like Stafford can throw on the other team. Who knows if Burrow's not healthy? Who knows? 30-1. That might be one I would take a look if I had to bet.
Give me I'm shopping the odds on our sponsor Pickett Sports.
Good job.
To see the best odds, and give me Van Jefferson 20-1 on MGM. If you're gonna go with first touchdown, I always think the 20-1 is way more fun than the 4-1s.
Yeah, the last 2 first touchdowns I was betting the game. I think it was Ronnie Bell.
Oh yeah, 40-1 Thursday night.
Yep. And then the one before that, I think Jawan Jennings got their first. No, it was I think in week 2, Jawan Jennings got their first touchdown of that Rams game.
I don't have stats on this, but I can
should we
almost say
going with like Drew Sample.
I feel like 80% of primetime games you see a touchdown score first, and your first question is, who the hell is that guy?
Yeah.
So I feel like that's the kind of guy who's got to find on primetime. It's never the Christian McCaffreys. It's never the Joe Mixons.
Making my case for Drew Sample because I know that none of y'all have heard of Drew Sample and his one target this season.
Drew Sample is a blocking tight end and nothing else.
I know. I love it.
Is there an offensive lineman?
Is he related to Sperm Sample?
Yeah, I think so.
Don't like that joke. Don't put it in the horse.
Fantastic joke.
Give me Captain America. I'm going to take Chris Evans. I want to go him. 50-1.
I'd go with one of the defenses. I'd probably go, I don't know, Bengals defense 30-1. Who knows?
For a thought experiment, Joe Mixon on Caesar Sportsbook is plus 320 for first touchdown.
Yeah.
That is a crazy number.
Stafford 35-1. He doesn't run a lot. I mean, he runs more than I think people think, but 35-1. I'm gonna change my mind. Maybe Stafford, you get to the goal line and you just do that little Philly push or whatever, the tush push. Maybe Stafford 35-1. It's not horrible. It's not good, but it's not horrible.
I'm looking at NJC's in here.
Saying what's up, Marvin. My bad.
No, I just reading what NJC was saying the 1 o'clock hour on Sunday was a series of games of tight ends scoring that no one knew, which is true.
Yeah,
was
I love
it
that.
was
Yes, great point. That is a
I
great
love when
point.
the Blake Bells of the world score a touchdown.
especially a lot of the first half because we did like a touchdown parlay with the friends I was with, and we were like, how the hell are we at halftime and none of the Jamar like the the Justin Jeffersons have scored or any of these guys we have on this list. It was all just the craziness,
That
people.
was bound to happen, but yeah.
It's funny, the quarterback play, and before you get the quarterback play, the offense is like, I know there was a lot of scoring last week, but the offenses have just been really bad in the league. Like last night, man, I was ready, and I never turn off an NFL game, especially a standalone game. I like middle of the third quarter, early fourth, I was ready to go to bed. That roughing the passer kept me off, like because Oakland or the Vegas actually made it a game. But man, some of these teams just struggle to move the ball. It's painful to watch. I don't know what the reason is because the rules favor the offense so much, but man, like Tennessee yesterday was a tough one to watch. Man, it's just some bad offenses.
I did give out the Ryan Tannehill under. Yeah, that Browns defense. I don't know if it'll be catching anybody by surprise anymore, but yeah, offenses are bad right now, man. Like I don't know what to say. It's pretty tough to watch some of it, like you're saying. But for that, you just got to watch the right teams, I guess. If you want to watch good quarterback play, there's like 6 of them.
Yeah, like the Cardinals, the Dolphins. It's about the 2 quarterback play I can think of.
Right.
Dude, we've been talking about that. NJC brought up another point we've been talking about the last couple of shows, which is like these totals haven't really. They just keep stay low even after week 2. What was the sort of over percentage of week 3? Do you guys know yet?
I didn't look top of my head. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I know by some miracle the Vikings Chargers game stayed under the 52 or 52 and a half.
Got up to 55 and a half.
Yeah, it opened up to 52 and a half, and I know a friend that was so confident that he bet it, and after that that missed 4th down, he's like, all right, we're back. And I was like, dude, I don't know how that stayed under because it was at 52 for a while.
Yeah, that's crazy.
With both teams driving and neither team could stop anybody, yeah, another touchdown seemed inevitable. That was a tough one.
Dude, there's 2 games, 1, 2, no, it's like 3 games, maybe 4 that went over 50 points. Yeah, well, not counting the 70-20 affair. So I guess 6 of the 10, yeah, but that's not very many going over.
The totals have been low. Remember last week we were doing the Monday night preview, and it was like 39 and a half for the Panther Saints, and then the other one, was it Brown Steelers, was also in the 30s. NJC said, should McDaniel have gone for the 73? I say yes. Like, to me, that's history. Get it. Look, it was. I guess you could say it was a classy move. Like Denver never interviewed him.
How is it classy? Yeah, like you were putting up touchdowns when you were up 45-10. Like, what was classy about that part, and then not kicking the field goal? I don't understand why you chose that random moment at the end to be like, well, let's not put it on him.
Trying not to make enemies, I guess. I don't know.
You just put 70 on him.
That's when you do the fake kneel. You throw it over the top.
Lean the fuck in and score 73 fucking points. I agree.
I'm with you. What is the record? Was 72?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay. So he would he have tied the record or had the record?
No, I think they would have had the record.
Yeah, I would have gone for the record.
Yeah, what are we talking about here?
Yep.
Like, and also like, fuck Sean Payton. He's an asshole.
He says, what's the difference classy wise from 70 to 73? I guess the thinking is, hey, you scored a touchdown. That's part of the game. It's like stealing a base in baseball when you're up a bunch of runs. Like kicking a field goal is just adding points where, hey, you're not going to just kneel on the ball. I get it. Once you get up that many points, it's look, anything you do is, you know what, I have no problem with it either way. I
believe it was the dudes on the U of Miami who said, if you don't want us to score or celebrate after we score, then don't let us get in the end zone.
Yeah.
Especially
in the NFL, it's not like you're playing Bethune-Cookman and run up the score. I mean, this is the Denver Broncos. They're all professionals. I would have
Belichick have kicked it
going for it.
Yeah.
Well, then the thing is, if you don't kick it, you're like, oh man, he's going for it, up 50 points, and people you can twist it either way. It's like, why are you going for it? You should just kick the field goal. So I have no problem with it either way. I would have gone for it. I would have liked to see him get the record, but I get it. Who knows? The way they're going, maybe they'll break it again this week or the week after. My goodness.
It's a little scary for me, Josh and Brad, though, for our awards thing, because Mike White looked great yesterday, so that's gonna really boost his MVP stock for Will.
I deserve it. I deserve that. You know, who could use Mike White is the Jets, man. That was we didn't really talk about that. I know you can't just get it. They got to do something. Like they got to.
I want to Photoshop a picture of Mike White on the Jets and try to see if we can get him there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They got to do something. I mean, you got to just find somebody else.
They're about to. The rest of his team is going to go on strike until Zach Wilson is off.
Well, the thing is, they're 1-2. They're about to be 1-3 because they play the Chiefs on Sunday night, which was a great game a month ago, but it's not a great game now. And it's like, you know what? You don't have. It's not the baseball season where you can just wait till the trade deadline in July to trade for somebody. Like you're going to be 1-3. You're going to be. All right, let's just say you bring in Cousins 2 weeks from now. You can't be 1-4, 1-5. Like, I know it's a good roster, but that's not good enough where you can just get an average quarterback and then you're gonna make up all this ground. Like they're done. Their season was over when Rodgers got hurt. Like we knew it at the time. But you gotta try something else. Not that it's a solution, but you gotta try something else.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Good show.
All right.
Anything else?
No, I think I'm good.
All right.
Yeah, 12
2
p.m.
games
Eastern
tonight.
moving forward for everyone.
12 p.m. Eastern moving forward. Good point. Tell your friends. Tell strangers at the grocery store. Tell anyone. We appreciate you guys. Hall of Fame bets, Pickett Sports, sleeper picks. Enjoy the games tonight. Good luck with all your plays. See you guys tomorrow.